Hi, so I am Jessica Tillier.
And I'm Jessica Orkin. And yes, not everybody at SY Partners is actually named Jessica. We do have some people who are named Jennifer. So, are you guys ready to make? Are you starting to feel it? Because you have a lot of work to do today. So, we want to propose an idea. Not only are you going to be creating new solutions to the challenges that Feast has framed up for us today. That's the one you signed up for. That's the making that you know you're about to do. There's another one. You are also about to make teams. Teams that are capable of making great stuff. That is the less visible but equally important part of making. This is what Jess and I want to talk to you about today. So a little bit of context. At SY Partners, we work with leaders around the world to build great companies. We have learned a ton about what it takes to build great teams, because great teams are the building blocks of those great companies that can create greatness and bring that forward into the world. So what does that look like? It often starts with vision and strategy. Working side by side, say Howard Schultz at Starbucks, to re-envision what Starbucks' purpose, its mission, and the role that it's playing in the world. We look at culture. We look at teams of people around the world. Take IBM, for example, someone that we've worked with for many, many years. How do you take 400,000 employees speaking countless languages, coming from countless different cultures and traditions, and connect them to one single audacious vision of change in the world that IBM is going after? From there, we design the experiences that bring this purpose, bring this culture out into the world. The brand experiences that express that DNA, that reason for being, and connect it with customers, connect it with all of us. So here's the thing. You're going to do all of that in miniature today. Rather than taking months or years of shaping ideas, of generating new possibilities, of bringing it forward, of doing the prototyping, of testing, you're going to do this and figure it all out by the end of today. So what do we need in order to make that come alive? The first I submit to you is that in this moment, today, anything is possible. This group can do anything. You don't yet know what you are going to create, what could happen. Part of what this hinges on, this giant possibility, is what each one of you bring forward into your teams, into your tables, into the interactions today. So I want to step into today. I want all of us to move in. So for a moment, close your eyes. Listen to the room around you. Feel your body. We're often these big brains that are just hovering, having ideas. Feel your body. Feel yourself in your chair. All right, are you coming into the room? I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. Who is sort of here, but is... So you guys are so good at following directions.
So quick.
Who is sort of here, but also kind of thinking about all the emails that have already come in since you sat down for this morning session? Raise your hand. OK, that's probably 60%, maybe 70%. Now, keep your eyes closed. Who here thinks they already know the solution to their challenge that they're going to go after today? Raise your hand. No hands went up. You guys,
one in the way back.
One audacious, fabulous hand went up. OK, so the creation sits just ahead of us. Raise your hand if you're excited about today, but you're a little bit anxious about how it's all going to roll. Oh, you guys are such good truth tellers. I would say about half the room's hands just went up. OK, open your eyes. You are here. You are ready. So let's get going.
So, as Jessica mentioned, we're not going to really talk about the process of going from hundreds of ideas, which you're probably walking in with right now, to that one idea. We're going to talk about the mechanics of how to go from one person, one wonderful person, to a team. We often think about creativity as the work of a soloist. It's often the soloists that are regarded highly, that become the heroes. Thomas Edison, even John Maeda, the work that we just saw Eric and Jay do, Lady Gaga. We think of all of these people as being the soloist that made it great. But in fact, as all of us know from working on teams, anything that's great is truly the work of an ensemble. So in the last 20 years, we've worked across hundreds of companies with thousands of leaders and many, 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 many teams. And we've seen some very specific things about teams again and again and again. And the one thing that we've seen over and over is that it starts with the individual. It starts with you.
So now that we're here in this room, we're feeling our chair, we're feeling ourselves in this presence, let's start getting clearer about what our particular strengths are and what we're going to bring into our tables, into our teams today. This is something that SY Partners, we really pay attention to. This is not necessarily the strength, or as we sometimes call them superpowers, that I've listed in my LinkedIn profile. Not necessarily what you're going to put on your resume. This is the thing that you get called on over and over again throughout your life in different contexts. Your family, your friends, at work, different groups. This is you on your best day. I want to give you a couple examples from the SYP team. So this is Garrett. Garrett's out of our San Francisco office. Garrett's superpower is energy. He walks into a room and whoosh, everything goes up. And people around Garrett start interacting in different ways. This is Kate. Kate's out of New York. Kate is the person that we call on when we are in a tough situation, when we need somebody who will bring everything they have, every ounce of their being, to wrestle an idea down to the ground. And she inspires bravery and determination in the people around her, in her team. And this is Nicola. Nicola, who I partner with very, very often. Nicola has the amazing gift of being able to bring forward into any conversation a contrarian view, but a contrarian view with a full heart. So he's not coming in to disagree. He's coming in to help us reframe a situation and to see what might be possible that we're not yet seeing. I imagine actually many of you, whether or not you call yourselves contrarian thinkers, this is probably something you're particularly good at if you're in this room. Seeing possibility when everybody's seeing it this way, seeing it this way. Makey is a perfect example in what we just saw of being able to see possibilities, see new things, if we just look at it a little bit differently. So as we move into making today, ask yourself, what are you great at? What are you going to bring into your table, into your team? And this is actually going to be part of how we kick off the teams today, to actually get into that. And I challenge you to think beyond your title, challenge you to think beyond your function, to really think about what is that core thing that people know they can count on me for and that I'm going to uphold today.
So would anybody be willing to say what they're great at? Call out. You? What are you great at? Organizing.
That's great.
So how often is it that your strength of organizing is brought out by somebody else? That the chemistry of working together with someone, that fusion, is actually what makes you great and allows you to do things that you couldn't do on your own. We call that fusion, that chemistry, that partnership, a duo. And a duo is the smallest atomic unit of trust you'll have on a team. And today, you're going to find your duos. We find that duos, great duos, are in your life. Even not so good duos are in your life. And they're there. Do you have a duo? Oh, sitting right next to you. How perfect. So that great duo is there, whether you recognize it or not. And when you pay attention to it, when you cultivate it, when you put love into it, you can deeply, greatly amplify what your team is able to do. We're inspired by duos. We see them every day. So at SY Partners, I would say everyone is inspired by the Eames, aren't we all? We're makers. Something great about the Eames is Charles had this ability to be a systems thinker. He saw the big idea, and Ray brought the soul and the heart. We see it in the leaders we work with. So when a great CMO and a great CEO, or a great chief creative officer and a great COO come together, they can come together and truly believe in each other, believe in each other's success. They can do something that they couldn't do alone. They can transform a company. And at SYP, we have this really unique way of working where everyone has a duo. So if you work at the front desk, you have many duos. You have duos with operations, and you would have a duo with me. You would have a duo with Jessica. You have to have a duo with one of the Jessicas. This is Kate. She's a strategist. And that's Eli. He's a designer. He also happens to make amazing baklava. When they come together, they're solving a challenge now. I actually don't even know what it is. But whatever the solution of that challenge is, it's going to be better together. It's going to be something that neither one of them could have thought of on their own. And not only that, that idea that they come up with is going to be something that they can share and know that the other person has their back, that they've built that trust, that bravery. So think about your own lives. We've just heard from these guys. They're a duo. In your life, I actually see lots of people that kind of look like maybe they're sitting with their duo. I get the sense you guys are a duo. Yes. Who are your duos? Professionally, personally. If you get clear about that now, and go back tomorrow to your jobs, go back to the 100 emails with that duo, you will amplify what you're trying to do. And if you get clear about that today, if sitting around as you're starting to form teams a little bit anxiously, figure out who your duos are. Figure out who that atomic unit of trust is for the next 8 hours. And your team will achieve amazing things.
So from checking in with ourselves, from connecting with our own superpowers, from paying attention to duos in your lives, and also potentially, as Jess just said, ones that you're starting to feel in this room, at your table, as you start moving through the day, that person who helps you think about something a little differently or who brings up your energy. You're starting to build your team. You're not teams yet. That is the work of today, just as you are generating the ideas of today. So as you form your team, we want to give you one idea that's very powerful for SY Partners to take with you on the journey of creating your team. We have seen over the years that the strongest teams, the teams that are able to create greatness, boldness, playfulness, the teams that laugh a lot, as we just heard, those are the teams that are fueled by empathy and aspiration. I would guess that many of us in this room live in aspiration. We keep pushing on the boundaries. We keep thinking about what if. We keep dreaming new possibilities. Aspiration is our neighborhood. But we have found that aspiration on its own is not enough. It needs to be coupled in equal measure with empathy. Empathy for ourselves, and for that little bit of anxiety that we may feel right now as we're about to launch into this thing with people that we don't really know. Empathy for our duos, and what they're going through, and their context, and how they're processing things. Empathy for the team. You're going to get stuck today, and Jess is going to tell us about that. When the team gets stuck, bring empathy into that moment of not actually knowing what you're about to do or do next. Empathy for the work, empathy for the challenge, what you're trying to solve for. When you bring those together, empathy and aspiration, you are creating the conditions for greatness. So today, keep checking in on that. As you are generating ideas, as you are building your team, how are you going to approach the challenge? How are you going to approach each other with empathy and aspiration?
So I'm going to be one of your facilitators today. So the moment you get stuck, raise your hand, and I'll come over, and I will personally be your concierge to help you get unstuck. Oh, we have one. OK. Not yet, though. Let us get off stage, and then I'll be right over. OK. So we wanted to leave you with 3 tactics today for those moments. Every great team gets stuck. We know that. We're makers. We all work on great teams that are getting stuck all of the time. But we have 3 tactics to help your teams get unstuck today. So the first is come up with your vision, write it down as a team, and place it somewhere where everyone can see. If you can always go back to that vision, which you know, we're makers, you'll know where you're heading. Actually, you might not know where you're heading, but you'll have a sort of idea of exactly where you want to get. The second tactic is there'll be obstacles. That's the beauty of this process. When you come across obstacles, reframe them. Think of, well, OK, so if I stop thinking about this as an obstacle and actually an opportunity, what could it be? So reframe, reframe, reframe. We'd actually recommend just going ahead and the minute you come across an obstacle, write it down and just have a quick swarming session to write down all of the possible ways in which that obstacle could be an opportunity. And the third thing is there will be moments that you have it incredibly clear in your mind, but you're not exactly sure how to describe it. So sketch it. I wish I could spend my life sketching rather than talking, because it would just be so much more clearer for everyone. Just sketch it, sketch it, sketch it, visualize it. The moment that we visualize, we can see the flaws and we can see the possibilities.
So remember, today, in this moment, anything is possible. We cannot wait to see what you guys all create today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.